Hi everybody, welcome to my vlog. If you're new here, my name's Lottie and I have started vlogging in January this year just to document my life and to do something that I've wanted to do for a very long time. My life is a crazy combination of zen parenting, caring for my grandma, and day-to-day things, life, and trying to find hobbies in between and little moments of peace in other words, chaotic life. So that's who I am, and we're going to get straight into it. This week's been an exciting week for me. I finally got the key back to my allotment and I couldn't be happier. So on, was it Tuesday? Tuesday I collected my key for the allotment, and on Wednesday I got back on the plot for the first time in about 5 months. So it's very overgrown and I feel like in some respects I'm starting again. But I've had an absolute blast over the last couple of days going to the plot and digging everything over that I can do in that time. I've been, obviously, I have time constraints with picking kids up and doing care work. But it's been an utter joy to be back on the plot. I've managed to do, what have I done so far? I did a little bit of weeding on things that were already there. So I've got a herb patch there already and the herbs have started to grow. So that's been weeded. I did a bit of weeding on my rhubarb bed, and I have planted some onion sets which were a bit late going in for what I would normally plant them, because I do autumn planting normally for onion sets, and I've interplanted them this year with broad beans. On the bed next to that I have done, I can't remember what I've done. I think I dug a bed over. Oh no, sorry, I put some garlic, and in between, what have I planted in between my garlic? I'm sure I planted something in between my garlic, but I will take you for a full plot tour, and then that way I'm kind of documenting what I'm doing on the allotment as well. I'm enjoying being back. Yesterday I went, the first day I went was Wednesday. So the first day I went back was Wednesday, and sod's law, every man and his dog was on the plot. Everybody said hi, and everybody's really lovely on there, so it was nice to see everybody. But I'm saying sod's law because every time I've driven past that allotment, nobody has been there. And I kept thinking to myself, if one of the allotment people are there, I'm just going to nip on, ask if I can borrow their key and go get it cut really quick and bring it straight back for them. And no one has been there since January. Wednesday morning came round, I go on the plot as soon as I've finished my care jobs for my grandma, and literally about 6 different people were there. I was like, are you kidding me? So it was great to see everyone. It just sod's law that I've missed them all the time in between waiting for my key. So that was great, and I got a good start. I went twice that day because Delilah ended up being sent home from school poorly. She just had a cold. I think she'd pulled the wool over their eyes in a big way because she was absolutely fine 5 minutes after I picked her up. So anyway, in the afternoon, I picked her up at about 11, so we grabbed our lunch and we headed back to the plot. And she sat and did some colouring. She helped out a little bit with the weeding and doing stuff on there. So I went twice that day, got a fair bit done. I went back on Thursday fully with the intent to clear a larger space. I didn't clear a larger space. I probably cleared about half of what I intended to clear that day, because I met my plot neighbour, so the lady who owns the plot, like literally right next to mine, and she's the loveliest lady. We ended up talking for about an hour, which was really nice, but we've swapped numbers and we'll probably keep in touch and maybe try and aim to go at the same time. She's a little bit older than me. I think she's a bit younger than what my mum is, so she's in her late 50s. She's such a nice lady and we had such a lovely conversation. So that was really nice. So I've made a friend on the allotment, so we're going to keep in touch and possibly try and go, not always, but sometimes go on the same day. Just because, well, it's nicer to do it with someone and we can have a chat. But I mean, if we're going to chat for 2 hours at a time, that might be a little difficult, because I don't think I'll get anything done, because I can talk when I need to. Like I say, we spoke for about an hour about various different things. So yeah, I'm very excited to be back on the plot. I've put my potatoes in, my first earlies, and I've decided that across the entire plot, no matter what I am planting, I'm going to attempt to companion plant. Companion planting has benefits for everything that you plant. So, for example, if I'm planting carrots, I am going to plant something onion based close to the carrots, and it will deter the pests that are attracted to carrots. Or at least that's the theory. Because I know in the past when I've put things in, I feel like I've run out of space quite quickly, and this year I want to be a total year of abundance. I'm not going to listen too hard to spacing advice, even though I am still very much a beginner. I think if you stick to the spacing advice on the packets or what other people have said, you kind of end up with a lot of empty in between spaces, and actually that can't be great for what you're growing. So companion planting to me makes sense, because you're using up more of the space and you are solving problems by putting other plants next to each other. So we're giving that a go. I'm very excited to do it. Like I say, I've done it with my onions. I planted some onion sets, and between the onion sets I've placed some broad beans, because apparently the nitrates in the broad beans go back into the soil, and that's good for the onions. And equally, having something planted near onions deters certain pests that would normally eat the broad beans. So logic would suggest that that is a good way to do it. I have got so much to plant, and I have sown so many seeds over the last couple of days. I'm going to have to slow down on sowing, because otherwise I'm going to have a whole host of things that are ready to go in, and I haven't cleared the space on the allotment. So I'm not at the allotment today. I am dressed a little nicer. I've got a nice skirt on for a change, despite the weather being ridiculously foggy and a little bit colder than it has been for the last couple of days. I'm going to lunch with my mum. We were supposed to go on Wednesday for our belated Mother's Day treat, because we always do that. It's a yearly tradition. We don't necessarily spend the day together. I'll nip in and see her and drop a card off and everything like that, but then we celebrate a few days later. So we're nearly a week late, but we are going to lunch at a pub in a place called Hippodrome, and it's called the Hare and the Hounds. Apparently it's really nice. I could kick myself though, because I kind of thought of this place and booked it in, and then my mum were like, oh yeah, it's really nice there. I went with the girls last week. So she's going to have been twice in a very short period of time. And I was kind of hoping that I'd be taking her somewhere she hadn't been for a long time, or somewhere she hadn't tried at all. You run out of pubs close by, and we are still restricted on time just because of school pickups and whatnot. So yeah, I'm looking forward to lunch today with Mum. And I'm very much looking forward to getting back on the allotment plot, but I'm not sure if I'll get there this weekend. I'm hoping that I manage to squeeze in an hour, because if I just do an hour here and there, I'll have it cleared in no time. And I'm currently just working on clearing the plot. I've got big ideas. I want a cut flower patch, I've got potatoes going in, I've got beetroots to sow, I've planted loads of seeds for everything. All the brassicas have just been planted up because I lost a load when it was windy a few weeks ago, last week maybe. Yeah, we had some real bad wind and it blew over my little propagator greenhouse thing that's propped up in the back garden, and I lost 90% of what I'd sown already. I have saved what I could, and I am sowing new with everything. I'm also wanting to concentrate big on herbs this year because I want to dry the herbs for teas, especially more medicinal ones, so like chamomile and lavender, and definitely I've got a really good patch of sage anyway, and a lemon balm. That's good. So yeah, I'm waffling. I could waffle on about gardening forever. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is this book. I briefly showed these books last vlog. I was gifted a whole bunch of classics for Mother's Day, and they are wonderful. And H.G. Wells has never really been on my radar because I believe his style is more sci-fi, and I'm not normally a sci-fi girl, not at all. But in the attempt to read many more classics this year that I haven't read, I started with this one, so The Time Machine, and it was really good. A little bit odd in places and a very neat concept, but it was, yeah, it was good. It was good. I am not going to say it was my favourite, but I'm glad I read it. That's where we're at with that one. But yeah, so I can find a place for that one to go on. I've run out of bookshelf. I've currently got stacks and stacks on my bedside table, but I should really move the books that I've read off the table to make some more space. But yeah, if you're into sci-fi, go read this book. It is weird and wonderful. And when you get to, by the time you've got to the end, I don't know if anyone else has like read it who's watched, but by the time you get to the end, you feel like you want to have seen the inside of this man's mind as to how he came up with some of the ideas that are in the book, like the way the little creatures look and the way that his little time machine worked. And yeah, but it's a nice concept. It starts out with gentlemen meeting for dinner to discuss time travel, basically. And it's kind of, again, a story within a story. So it's the main character is telling the story of what has just happened to him because he has just walked into that room from a time travel, if that makes sense. Yes, lots of different events happen when he's on his time travel, but it's a nice quick read. It only takes about 3.5, maybe 4 hours to complete that one. That was good to read, and I'm glad I read it. But again, not necessarily what I would pick up. I am just wondering which one I'm going to go for next. I didn't know whether to start on... I'm looking over there because I'm looking at my titles. I didn't know whether to start on one of the Jules Verne books that I have. So the ones that I have are 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Journey to the Centre of the Earth, and Around the World in 80 Days. So I'm wondering if I should start one of those next. I don't know. So much choice, this is the problem. I am so grateful for being bought all these books. I'd literally just bought myself a little stack of books. I've still got a couple of them to read. But I don't know which to read first. My brain's like in overload because I don't know which one to read first. And that's half the issue, choosing what's going to be next. I'm halfway through Mandy by Julie Andrews Edwards. This little love. Now this is a really quick read. It is a children's book, and I could probably sit there and read the last half of that within an hour. So I might try and aim to get that one finished before I moved on to Jules Verne. But we're going through books like there's no tomorrow, and I'm finding that if I get a quiet moment at the allotment, it's a great time to put my headphones on and listen to an audiobook. So what I've been doing with the books, so the Time Machine one especially, is I found it on audiobook. I found it a free version on Spotify, and I listened to that, but when I was at home and if I had any time I was following along, so I was reading it as well as listening to it. That's a really nice thing to do. That way I feel like I can continue a story if I have to put the book down physically, especially if you want to know what's going on. So I'm enjoying that, and there'll be lots more time to listen to books if I'm going to the allotment, because I can just put my headphones on, especially if there's nobody else there. I am going to sign off for now, and I'm going to do something with my hair. I don't think I am. I think I'm going to leave it as it is. It's a little bit windswept because I dropped the car off for MOT this morning and walked back from the garage. It's not very far, but it was the air is quite damp because it was so foggy this morning. So my hair's just a little bit, well, it's frizzy, isn't it? It's just doing its own thing. But next week I'm getting it cut, which I cannot wait to do. So I may take you with me, depending on if my hairdresser is okay with that. And we'll go through that process together, because it's time for a change with my hair. It's definitely time for a change. I need to cut some of the length off, that's for sure. And then I'm just going to try and concentrate on hair health and kind of like, I'm going to cut it off to grow it basically. I'm not going too short, I don't think. We'll see what she says when we get there. But hair grows. I'm very much a believer of, if you do something you don't like it, just grow it out. It's not going to be the end of the world if I don't like the length of it when we're done. But I always do this anyway. I grow it long and then I chop it off. So that's happening next week, which I'm very excited for. I feel like I've waited a very long time for this appointment. I don't think I've actually been to the hairdressers and seen her in about a year. Yeah, so that's something to look forward to. And on that note, Dine and I are signing off for now, because I've got to go get ready for going out to dinner with my mum. She's collecting me this morning because I don't have a car. I normally drive everywhere, but today I'm carless. So yeah, I'm going to wait for my mum to come, and I don't know if I'm going to do anything with my hair right now. I will see you very shortly, possibly on Monday, but if Monday is the next time I see you, I am taking you guys along to the allotment with me. So we will do a small introduction in the car at that point, and then I'm going to show you the plot for my benefit more than anything else. I really want to document where we're starting and when we're going to be in a couple of months' time, because the barren start of where I'm at now, and then hopefully having it totally full and packed out with flowers and produce, will be such a nice thing to kind of look back on and feel proud about. I think I'm ready to do that. I'm desperately wanting it to be a year of abundance for that garden. So let's record it all, and I will see you either over the weekend or on Monday. I will see you soon though. Bye-bye. Hello, I'm back again. It's been a few days since we've spoken the last time. I think it was Friday when I spoke with you last, so the last clip you'll have seen is from Friday. You will have just seen a very quick tour of my allotment plot. Now it's looking really rather messy, but from the place that you guys have seen it today is where I have dug some beds out, so it was a lot worse than that. Has it been 3 days? I've been 3 days for a couple of hours each, and I am trying not to burn out by doing too much at once, because that's quite an easy thing to do when you've got a goal in your head, especially for gardening. It's so easy to kind of like steam forwards with what you're trying to do and what the idea is in your head that you burn yourself out. So I'm not allowing myself to really do more than 2 hours at a time at the plot. I'm very excited to be there and very excited to get in cleared. You will have seen on my little allotment clip, my rhubarb is growing nicely, which is great because I love rhubarb, and yeah, it's one of the things that I planted maybe 1 or 2 years ago, but I didn't get anything off it last year. I've also planted some onion sets and some broad beans in the same bed, which was next to the rhubarb. I also have a herb garden which is in desperate need of weeding, which is on the list of things to do, but my priority right now is to try and get the bulk of the weeds up and set up another couple of beds. So yeah, after the herbs I planted a little bed with garlic in. I think it's just garlic in there for now, but I'm looking for a companion plant to go with the garlic, because we're going to try and do polyculture growing, which just means putting lots of different things in a very small space so that one can feed the soil, one can shade other plants, because my plot is like full sunshine all the time. There's literally no shadows on that plot. So yeah, we're going to give polyculturing a go. I think that's the right term. Don't come at me because I'm very much a beginner for any terminology, but we're going to give it a go. What else have we got? So garlic, and then next to the garlic I have some strawberry plants which have been there a few years now. Not entirely sure if we'll get too much from them this year. I'm under the impression that you have to swap out strawberry plants every couple of years, just so that they're producing enough fruit. I don't know if that's an actual thing, but we're looking into that one. So I think this year is going to be the last year those strawberry plants do anything for me. But I have planted alongside those some leeks, which I hope are going to deter some pests, because normally what happens with the strawberries, their fruit's amazing, but it seems to get eaten by slugs and various garden critters quite quickly. So if you don't visit the plot for a couple of days, then you ain't getting any strawberries. So hopefully the leeks will deter any pests. Next to my strawberry bed is currently my compost bin and a big empty space. Now that was a bed just before you get to the shed. Everything's gonna rhyme this morning, afternoon, whichever. That bed just after the compost bin did have a lot of broad beans in it last year, and it had a tomato plant in it last year. This year I think I might actually make that into, I think I might put flowers in that one, or just open it up for another bed, because I've come away today. You'll see there's a really long strip right at the back of my allotment plot. It's the full width of my allotment plot. I've cleared that this morning. I've finished clearing it this morning, and a couple of beds next to it. That long bed, I want to really concentrate and really try my best to get the best pairs and companion plants together in there, because it's such a big growing space. I'm going to top it up with compost so it has a bit of a feed, and mix in some things like blood and bone. as a fertiliser, just to make sure the soil's quite healthy and I'm giving everything quite a good chance at surviving. But yeah, I'm not sure. There's a little patch next to the shed and the compost heap, and I think I'm going to put flowers on there. I'm not entirely sure with that one because I don't want to block the shed up too much, and I think I want to make like a little sitting area, but I've also decided I'm going to put a wildlife pond in. I'm giving myself a lot of jobs this year. So yeah, if I'm doing a couple of hours a day, it's going to quite quickly get cleared with some luck. Yeah, I haven't planted, did I plant? I think I mentioned in the last clip, the chatty clip, that I'd already planted some potatoes. They were like one of the first things that went in last Wednesday. I cleared the plot and I got the potatoes in as quickly as I could because they well needed to be in the soil. They were completely chid. They were growing sprouts out of every tiny surface of the potato. They were ready to go in, so they've gone in. I have put a mulch over the top of them today so I could see the little shoots creeping upwards. So I've just covered the little shoots with manure, well, a rotted manure, so it's like manure and straw, and it did look pretty well rotted, but what I'll do is alternate it. So next time I earth up, I will use the mounds that I made the trenches with, and that'll just go on top, and after that I'm going to get some straw, I think, and try straw as well. But I'm looking to plant beans on the row between the potatoes because apparently beans are high in nitrates and potatoes are like nitrates. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm a bit buzzy and my head's a bit full of everything that I want to do and all the information that I need to have in my head. It feels like it's a bit overload. So we're slowly kind of getting through that at the moment. I mean, it's Monday. I've already been called from school this morning to tell me that Ewan's bumped his head. So that's something to look forward to. Apparently he's got a little lump on his head. That's nice of him. It is the last week before we get to half term. No, half term? Easter holidays. Is that classed as a half term? Must be. But we're at the Easter holidays, so they break up on Friday and they've got 2 weeks off. The day they go back to school is Ewan's birthday, so I'm going to have to think of something to do for Ewan's birthday. But in the holidays, I'm hoping the kids are going to want to decorate, and I've got some paper crafts in mind to do as well. So I think we will be making either some kind of Easter garland with paper, or just some giant flowers and bunnies and chicks to like go all over the wall in the living room. And we might use that wall as a bit of a spring decoration wall because I keep meaning to make a gallery wall out of it and I still haven't done it. But we might just cover that in Easter decorations and florals ready for spring because we are officially in spring now. I have managed to do a bedding wash this morning and I've already done all my jobs for my grandma. She was a bit confused this morning. It was a bit of a bizarre thing. So I walked in and normally she's still in bed and I called to her good morning and she starts to get up as I'm going in to make her a coffee and to get her a breakfast sorted. So she's normally getting up at that point, which is between 9 and 10 normally. So today I got there at about 9:30, 9:45ish, and the door was unlocked and she was on the sofa, but she was, I don't know whether she was pretending to sleep or if she was actually sleeping. Yeah, it was just a bit odd. She said she was feeling a little dizzy and that she just didn't feel quite right and her head wasn't in a good place. And then she kept saying to me, but I haven't taken anything. I'm like, well, good, because you don't really have anything to take anyway. I'd left a box of cocodamol in the house for just after when she'd had her bit of a, I don't know whether she'd pulled a muscle or it bruised herself between her ribs. She never actually got a bruise for that though, but the paramedic guy who came out, first responder chap, he said to give her cocodamol for a few days and just get the worst of the pain away for her, just to help her with the worst of the pain with the cocodamol. So there was a box of that in the house, but from what I can see, she hasn't actually taken any of the cocodamol. But it was on a bedside table. I don't know, can that give you an upset stomach? I don't know, I'm going to have to do a little bit of research. But then when I left, I got a phone call from my mum was on the allotment plot saying the hairdresser's there, she's doing her hair and she's doing a shower, because the hairdresser goes in and she kind of cares as well, so she's doing a shower with her and doing her hair with her when she's there. The hairdresser had called my mum basically saying that she'd had an accident on the kitchen floor and she was just in a bit of a mess and a bit of a state, and I can't work out why that's been. I mean, she's obviously not top form today, but I don't know if that's because she ate too much over the weekend, and I know that sounds really stupid, but on Friday I sent her a shopping order, so I know she had about 4 or 5 of the ready meal lunchtime deal things from the supermarket, and plenty of food in the house. But then on Friday night I'd ordered her a pizza, so she had pizza, and then on Saturday I think my mum had gone to visit, so she'd taken her a cream cake and she'd also taken her a curry. And the curry had been eaten because the bowls were in the sink and I had to clear that up this morning, so that's been eaten over the weekend. But every single one of the sandwiches that I'd bought her on the Friday, they were gone all as well. Now she's real hit and miss with her food. She either eats like quite a lot or she barely eats a thing. I mean, I know we all have kind of hormones dipping in and out and all the rest of it, but it's extremes. It's like she won't even eat some days, and then some days she'll eat an entire week's worth of food in about 3 days, or 2 days in this case. So I don't know whether she's eating something funny and she's just having a little bit of a, not food poisoning as such, but something that's upset her stomach, or I don't know what's going on. So yeah, she's a bit out of sorts this morning. Yeah, which will be a mystery. I'm just going to keep track of her a little bit this week and see how she goes. So like I say, I've moved the cocodamol now. I've brought them home with me and I'll get rid of them because she definitely don't need them anymore. I don't know. I genuinely don't know what went on this morning, but then yeah, my mum called and she was like, she's had an accident on the kitchen floor. I'm like, do you need me to go back? And she's like, no, it's okay. The hairdresser's got it and she's kind enough to help her get cleared up and clean up the mess that there was in the house. So yeah, a bit of an odd one. And then yeah, been at the plot. Do you know, today's been, I mean, I haven't been back too long at the plot. I got there and there was an old chap there, which is why I hadn't recorded until I was leaving today. There's one of my neighbouring plot holders on site when I got there, and he came, said hello, and then we just kind of got on with our own things, and then he left. And after he left, it's the first time I've felt slightly uncomfortable. My plot is right next door to a hotel, but behind the hotel was stood like a small group of, I'll say boys because they didn't look like men, so like teenage boys. And it's the first time that I've felt uncomfortable there. No, I'm quite aware of what's going on around me anyway, sorry. But today's the first day I was really conscious about being on my own there. There were plenty of work vans around because it's not far from an industrial estate, and I believe one of the houses on the street that's like literally opposite, I think that they must have something to do with a particular company because there's their vans parked outside literally all the time. So I don't know if they were there for a meeting, but there were plenty of people about. But yeah, it was a bit of an odd thing to, you know, when you just feel like someone's watching you. And I definitely felt watched today. So that's a new experience. So I guess that I'll just have to be very conscious of my surroundings. I mean, I normally am. I don't do anything daft, and you know, it's just one of those things. But I really hope that's not going to be like a continued thing, because why would you want to be on a plot on your own if you feel uncomfortable? I can understand why that would be majorly off-putting to some people, especially women gardeners. So I hope that's not a continued thing. I hope that was just a one-off, and I hope I was just being a little bit paranoid. I'm sure I was. Neither of them even came close to the allotment. It was just like they were watching from a distance. yeah, so I locked up anyway pretty much a little bit after that and just left, and they weren't there when I left. So yeah, but it's a bit of a weird one. It's the first time I've felt a little bit uneasy about being on my own there, and it's supposed to be my happy place, so I don't know. Anyway, we are going to, what am I going to do today? I'm going to get out all Delilah's dance things right now because she has got final rehearsal before her little spring showcase, which is at the weekend. So I need to pull out all of her dance things for the show because she's got to go in full attire this afternoon, evening, whatever we're doing. I'm hoping that I'm going to get this video finished today. I feel like I've just waited on about gardening again. Gardening? I've had a bit of a chat. It's been a very garden related chat this vlog, and I promise that I am going to take you with me and actually show myself doing some actual work at the plot, because it's one of the hobbies that brings me joy and it totally fits with what I'm going for this vlog. Yeah, so you definitely will be coming with me. It's just finding, I mean, I don't film too much outside anyway, but it's having a moment where I'm on my own and able to film without looking too crazy, purely because there is literally no cover. The walls are not tall. It's got a pretty low wall at the bottom so everyone can see in and everyone can see what you're doing anyway, and the fence is completely, it's just an open fence, like a not a net fence, like a grate fence, so you can see straight through it. I don't think that's the right term for the fence. It's just like a wire fence, so everyone can see through it. So I feel a little bit funny about filming on that one, but I will get used to it, and I might just take you and not talk and then try to do a voiceover because that's still something I haven't given a go to yet. But for now, I'm going to go and find all Delilah's dance things, and I am going to draw myself a plan of what I want to plant in the longest bed. So like I say, I really want to give this polyculturing a go. I think it is such a brilliant idea, like using crops for shade and using crops to feed the soil, and I think that could be a real game changer this year, which is why I've started planting a few things in and out of the garlic and the strawberries and things like that. So I need to go plan that out. I need to make sure that I've got everything. I need to go water the seeds that I've already planted because I planted so many seeds last week and over this weekend. Yeah, I've got a lot of watering to do, and I'm determined not to let any of my seedlings die. I repotted a load of my tomatoes the other day, the original ones that we planted together, and they are looking quite healthy, or at least most of them are, so I'm really hoping that I'm going to get some decent tomatoes. The cherry tomato plants seem to be doing better than any of the other tomato plants. So I've got regular tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, and then like some beefsteak tomatoes. And the beefsteak ones look like they are struggling, but we'll see how they go. Everything could change yet. And have a look what needs to be done downstairs. I've got more washing to do than you can shake a stick at, and yeah, I've just got to get organised. I don't feel very organised because it's been difficult all the weekend. Ewan's been really struggling this weekend to go to the bathroom. This is an ongoing issue, and he's under paediatric care because of it and other things, but it's really difficult to get him to go to the bathroom. So we've had a lot of messy pants this weekend, and he's gone to school today, and I'm just really hoping that he doesn't have messy pants at school. Yeah, we managed to get him to go a very slight little bit this morning, but there's no rhyme or reason to it. He can't tell me why he doesn't want to go. He just doesn't want to go. He don't like going. He just doesn't like it. So we are battling that, and it's just felt like an exhausting weekend where the kids just didn't want to listen. Everything he said, you had to repeat at least 3 times before you even got an acknowledgement that it had been said. Saturday, Rob had travelled an hour to go shooting, and then he got there and the place said, you're not shooting today, you're shooting tomorrow. So then he had to come back, so he went and got his hair cut. But I was on my own for a long time with the kids on Saturday, which I was prepared for, but then I had the same thing on Sunday as well. So Sunday came round, I had to take both of them to Delilah's swimming lesson in a taxi. So I didn't have my own car with me, which I find really stressful anyway. Like there's no like get out of things. So like if things are stressful and you've got your own car, you can literally just shove the kids in the car, belt them in, and then you're alright. Because once they're belted in the seatbelts, they can't get anywhere, they can't do anything naughty, they can shout and scream, but they can't do anything or run away hard, anything like that. And we'd had a bit of a meltdown. The swimming bath was ridiculously hot. The building that I was in, the room that the swimming pool was in, it was so warm. Poor Ewan was literally sweating. It was dripping off his forehead, so I had him stripped down to his pants while we were waiting for Delilah to finish the swimming lesson, because parents are not allowed to leave either, just in case of emergencies, which is fine, and normally it's absolutely no problem. But Ewan was absolutely melting, so he was getting really ratty. And then Delilah got out of the swimming pool. She took forever to get dressed, and it was like everything was a test. It was a real test. So by the time Sunday afternoon came round, I think I was so exacerbated by literally everything that had gone over the weekend. My brain had just given up. It had gone into like survival mode, and we were just plodding on to get through the day. And I don't often get to that point, but yesterday was really hard. So today I just feel like I'm catching up. Ewan had messy pants this morning, but the problem was he got into our bed, so I've had to wash our sheets. Monday is not normally a day that I wash our sheets, but I had to rewash the sheets because I was just, the smell, I'm so fearful of the smell getting everywhere, so I'm having to wash a lot more, which is always a bonus, as you can probably imagine. And yeah, it's just difficult when everybody switches off and they're not listening. And yeah, if you're a parent yourself, you will completely get it, because all kids do it. They all have moments or days or mornings or whatever where they just don't listen, or they're just not switched on enough to have heard you. Because I know this is a problem most of the time with my two, is it's not that they are not listening, they're just not switched on to anything else that's going on around them, so hyper focused on whatever it is they're doing, that they don't hear you, or they hear you but they don't process what you're saying. So as someone who sat there and already said something 3 times, that's really frustrating. You also quite appreciate the fact that they're not doing it on purpose, but it's trying to find that level of calm and continued calm to be able to get through your day. But anyway, that was a weekend, and hopefully we're moving forwards now. I'm going to go do all those things that I've said, and I'm also, if I get chance, and I'm not sure I will because it's already 2:15, if I get chance I'm going to go and read a little bit of my book, because I'm desperate to finish Mandy by Julie Andrews Edwards, because it's such a little cute book. It's a joy to read, so I want to read a little bit of that today if I get chance. And then hopefully when she's dancing, when Delilah's at dancing this afternoon, I will be able to start editing and get this vlog up today, ready for sending out into the world tomorrow. So with that very chatty moment, I'm going to love you and leave you, and thank you for being here, and I will see you next week on a brand new vlog. Hopefully a little bit more on the allotment plot, if the weather stays fine enough for me to do it, and if I get quiet moments down there. I know there's a lot of ifs, I'm giving you lots of excuses, but I'm really super conscious about filming when there's people looking at me, and it definitely felt like I was being looked at today. So yes, have the most incredible week. If you have got lovely things planned, please let me know in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you. If you are here and you want to say hello, that would also be appreciated, and I would say thank you for watching and getting to the end of this vlog with me. If you've been here from the beginning, thank you, and if you're brand new, please give me a subscribe and a like if you would. It's most appreciated. And I will see you very, very soon.